media attention like that Darwin does.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because Miguel is just a guy who does what he's supposed to do. Little guy, works his ass off. And, and he makes plays like that.
Right.
Constantly.
Well, he celebrated a birthday this past week as we're recording, and I did see Chad Ochocinco gave him a shout-out on Twitter. I thought that was kind of unique.
Yeah, Chad did.
Yeah. He called him his man, or his favorite guy.
I think Chad is actually going to play
Last
soccer.
night he played his first game for Boca Raton FC.
Yeah, actually. Boca Raton FC.
But is Ochocinco like a closet Loons fan?
Could be.
I don't know that. I want to find that out.
Why would Miguel be his man if otherwise?
Well, I don't know. Miguel's from where? California?
Yeah.
Yeah, SoCal, yeah.
Maybe.
Where did Miguel play college?
I don't think so.
He didn't play college anywhere?
I
wonder if he did.
It could be, or it could just be that as Ochocinco, as he's getting more and more into soccer, I think he's a huge fan of soccer.
Sure.
Speaking.
Yeah,
so he might just follow the sport and know the sport that well.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, it'd be great if we could get him out to Allianz Field.
Well, Miguel's trying.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Shut up. He'd buy us all a round of beer.
I think he replied to Ochocinco's tweet and said, "Yeah, you got to come out and check out Allianz Field and get one of the new white jerseys." He said, so
which we will talk about in the second half of this pod. So we go up 2-0, and then the third goal was on a set piece.
Yeah.
And our guy Jan Gregus hits a screamer.
Yeah.
And then it nicks Quake's player and kind of fiddles into the goal, and that's that.
Yeah, and this is what we've been missing on set pieces. We need a guy who can put in a ball that's not only finding its man, but it just causes problems.
Yeah, has some system.
And if it hadn't been nicked, there's a chance. Can't remember who it was. Somebody was on the back post. May have gotten a piece of that too. That's what we needed. We've never had that. So, that was one of the things in the scouting that I think Heath had brought up that they really liked about him, his free kicks. That wasn't even an attempt on goal. He was trying to get it to a man. It went in. So
and Jan will come up in our talk about last night's game because he did something a little similar, not a set piece, but it was a good shot.
Exactly.
So we end up winning this match 3-0. I think, from my standpoint, it was nice to get another victory on the road against a Western Conference team. It kind of said, hey, the first game against Vancouver was not a glitch in the system.
Right.
We're coming up. But again, like the national media, and I agree with them, you go to the power rankings and they'll go, yeah, they beat Vancouver, they beat San Jose, but they got the Galaxy coming up. This is going to kind of define the season, as Sterling, you like to say. This is going to tell us what kind of team they are.
And and then they made a point of saying this. They made a point yesterday on the broadcast of saying how hard it is to win on the road, and that's true. And they put it on the screen a couple times. I think in 2018, last year, there was 8 teams who finished with 2 road victories or less.
I saw that, which was
and I think the number, they went up one more. They said that I think there was 12 teams that finished with 3 or fewer. So here we sit. The Loons sit with 2 away victories. Is that it for this team? You'd like to think not.
But you'd hope not.
So I think that's about it for San Jose.
Yeah, I think so.
3-0. So let's get into last night's game, because this was, like we talked about earlier, this was the game that was going to kind of define whether or not the Loons could beat a better opponent on the road. Now, I say that with a little grain of salt because there was Zlatan was out.
Right.
And who's the other?
Alessandrini was out.
Yep. DeSantos was bought out.
Yep.
And then they had another forward who they sold to China.
Yeah.
Dos Santos wasn't bought out. Is that?
Yeah, Dos Santos was bought out. So they sold Ola Kamara.
Yeah.
Okay.
To get money
to buy
Santos.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that has, the first 2 games it came back to bite them.
Yeah.
And Atura is new. He's young. He's not accustomed to it, and so he's a very different player than Zlatan.
But they were missing pretty much their top 2 guys.
Yeah, and I pointed out on Twitter that Alessandrini's scored 4 goals and 2 assists against us.
So, and then of course is Leighton. I mean, this guy. I mean, he's a monster, and so he's got an Achilles problem right now.
Yep.
And so, I was kind of when Leighton was going to be out, I said this should be a match we can win this game.
Yeah.
I mean, we should be able to win this.
And we all decided that it was going to be a win. Yeah.
So we come to this match, and the first thing I want to say about this match was the Galaxy came out really fast and really, really hard on us. Like, they were pushing the ball into our third of the field, like, pretty much the entire first half.
Yeah, and I kind of like, I mean, if you want to look at the positives, they kind of weathered that storm for a while. You know, I always look at, you know, I used to say, let's make it through the first 5 minutes and kind of 10 minutes, and that number has gone up, and at least they were able to weather the storm.
But they were pushing it, and I said in text last night, I said, when you push it this fast and this hard like they're doing, you're going to have defensive breakdowns because your defense cannot stay that way forever. They can't keep doing what they're doing.
Exactly.
And I think I made the one comment, and I just want to see if you guys agree. Like, I made the comment, you know, the Loons 2018 squad wouldn't have weathered that storm as well.
No.
With the remade back line and midfield for that matter.
Right. I mean, their first chance was in the second minute.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been a goal had it been 2018.
Yeah. And I think that you're right, Dave. I think that last year's team would have been down by 2 or 3 within the first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And that would have been all she wrote.
Yep.
The other thing I want to say about them coming out so fast was I get a feeling that this team got pumped up because Leighton was not going to play this week. And I think all the team kind of rallied around that whole thing of, you know, we're not just Leighton's team.
Well, in this game came on the heels of a 2-0 defeat on the road to Dallas. Mm-hmm. So without Zatlin as well.
Yeah.
So I think you know, maybe they had a little extra motivation. They're coming back home after kind of a rough loss on the road to Dallas.
I think they're coming back. I think they're coming. Before we get really far into the game, I want to know when Chris Pontius went from doing Jackass to being a soccer player.
Yeah, I kept thinking the same thing. I mean, I don't, you know, when you look at the rosters of some of these MLS clubs, I don't know everybody, but that name definitely sticks out, and it's not because I haven't been following his career. It's because I know that name. That's a good point.
What happened there?
You know, one thing before we dive too far into the game itself is we should definitely bring up is you know, the fact that Adrian Heath did not make the trip to LA and due to illness. So I mean, it was kind of a rough week for him.
It sounds like it might have been a bit more emergency than
I thought,
Twitter made it.
Yeah, and who knows how these things come up? I know he had to get a root canal performed. So that's never fun. I think he did that on Tuesday.
Ooh.
And I think it just depends on how it goes. I remember way back, I had my wisdom teeth taken out. And I know for a lot of people it's no big deal. But for me, I did end up getting sick, and the pain really knocked me out for a couple days. So, I mean, I guess it just depends on how it goes.
Right.
Yeah, maybe that's the case. But you could tell they missed Adrian last night. And, of course, we're going to talk about that because there was definitely a difference of ways of coaching between him and Watson that were like night and day.
Yeah, and so, if I may, I would like to point out the man of this match, not I don't mean man of the match. Mm-hmm. I mean just the man that defined this match. Mm-hmm. Rasmus Schul. I mean, he was an utter train wreck entire game.
He was.
And I pointed out to you guys, obviously on the text last night, but also before the podcast, he was like a train. He was like a really bad accident that you couldn't look away from. Mm-hmm. And I was showing you guys my notes, and it's literally 3rd minute, 4th minute, 6th minute, 9th minute, 13th minute, 17th minute. It goes on and on. It's like every few minutes I cannot stop watching him be out of position, make a poor pass, just be behind the game by like 2 steps. I mean, it was just, our left side was awful.
Well, and I made the comment that he must have whiplash today because he was turning around so much. And they were, you could tell they were exploiting that side of the pitch.
Yeah, I pointed out in our text last night that they'd go to our right and they'd kind of get bogged down, and they'd just immediately rotate it to the left, and there was their opportunities.
It's like a fast lane.
I could sit here and look at the one we don't get into the Audi index too much anymore, but I could go down the list of all the negatives that he actually ended up with a positive result in that Audi index of 68, which we all know is extremely low. But I mean, the list of like unsuccessful passes, aerials lost, fouls committed, challenges lost. I mean, there's a lot of negatives there.
Yeah,
but
sometimes that doesn't even tell the whole story.
Right, I pointed out that, Epler was Lunum pointed out that he had some very positive recoveries, and I think Lunum said it was 10, and my argument with that was you don't want him to have that many recoveries. Recoveries are obviously when they lose possession, and then he's the guy that gets possession back. And for me, if your winger is getting that many recoveries, you got to ask yourself, where is it happening? Where are they losing possession to begin with? And where is he getting the recovery back? Now, I didn't get to actually look. MLS Chalkboard has that. I didn't get a chance this morning to look. But to me, the major recoveries generally happen in the middle of the field. So I'm going to bet, and I don't know this, and maybe somebody can prove us wrong, but I'm going to bet we lost possession on the left, and he ended up being too far inside and recovered because he was always out of position.
He was.
So that's a problem. Against Vancouver, against San Jose, it's not broken.
No.
Against a better opponent, it's broken. And I think against Red Bull,
it's going to be
we're going to see a different level.
Well, and like I said before the pod, he looks, and through text too, he looks almost like he's thinking too much when he's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's thinking about what he should be doing instead of letting it come to him naturally. And he almost looks robotic to me. It's like he doesn't fit with all the other guys on the pitch anymore.
Yeah, so right. They've said it 3 times. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is the third game of the year, third time they've had the same formation, same lineup. Is it now because of what we're talking about here? Is it just a matter of waiting for players to heal, like Finley?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Because you have an issue where Angelo hadn't been fit for the first game at least, and then now you have that issue with him where Romario offers similar things, and we're probably going to get into this in a second too, but he's faster than Angelo.
Romario, and you've noticed that in all 3 games.
Yeah.
The speed of Romario is impressive.
And then you have Finley. Molino, I don't think is anywhere near being ready.
No.
So Finley is that next guy up who makes immediate impact as soon as he comes on the pitch.
So I guess, so that might be our choice, or your choice at least, of who could possibly replace Finley. So the question is, can they as the season progresses here, at least in the next month or two, can they stick with the same 4-2-3-1 formation? Should they?
It's hard to say. We talked about this between ourselves already. When Finley came in, they switched to the 4-3-3. The dynamic changed.
Yeah.
Then Angelo came in, and the dynamic changed even more because the hold-up play with Angelo was amazing. I mean, all of a sudden, those goal kicks from Vito were landing at his feet, and he was muscling off the defender, and it was changing the way we played the game.
It was.
And obviously you're limited on what you can do. So you have to make a decision on who you're going to have out there. I think Finley is a fantastic game changer. I think he's going to end up being a super sub for a while. In my opinion, you have to get Angelo in there to start and get Mario out on the edge.
Sure.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how we play against Red Bull, because you're getting these competing for spots now where players are healthy and they want minutes. They probably deserve minutes. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
But we digress because we should really get into what exactly happened in this game.
Yes.
So